Welcome to Magic Hour Talk Show 27. I am your host, Paul Chappell. And guys, I'm not even going to beat around the bush. Let's get right into the juicy stuff. What's the juicy stuff, you ask? Joss Whedon, that's right. Joss Whedon might be in trouble. I thought this Ray Fisher thing was going to blow over for him. It's one thing to have an accusation against you in Hollywood. It's still bad no matter the way you look at it, but it's just one accusation. You can get past that. But Joss Whedon now has two accusations against his behavior from Charisma Carpenter. I don't even know what she's doing these days. I haven't seen her since Angel. I kind of had a crush on her back in the day. But she came out against Joss Whedon and said she was mistreated. And Sarah Michelle Gellar, who played Buffy, also supported her. So I guess that means that maybe she has some accusations coming out too. Actually, it was more than Sarah Michelle Gellar. Let me go ahead and just read this article on Polygon. On Wednesday, Buffy the Vampire Slayer star Charisma Carpenter accused creator Joss Whedon of recurring abusive behavior on the set of the series, which ran on the WB and UPN from 1997 to 2003. In a lengthy Twitter post, the actress recounted encounters with Whedon on Buffy and its spinoff, Angel, that she said that traumatized me to this day. Wow. Hours after Carpenter posted her account to Twitter, co-stars Sarah Michelle Gellar, Amber Benson, and Michelle Trachtenberg voiced their solidarity. Joss Whedon abused his power on numerous occasions while working together on the sets of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel. While he found his misconduct amusing and only served to intensify my performance anxiety, disempower me, and alienate me from my peers, the disturbing incident triggered a chronic physical condition from which I still suffer. Wow. It is with a beating, heavy heart that I say I coped in isolation and at times destructively. And I think this is going to have more impact on him because it's women. Seems like men, when they have accusations, they get swept under the rug pretty quickly. Carpenter goes on to describe passive-aggressive comments made about her weight during a time when she was pregnant, and an incident in which, this is really bad, guys. This is really bad. In which Whedon asked her whether she was going to keep it in reference to her baby. Whedon manipulatively weaponized my womanhood and faith against me. He proceeded to attack my character, mock my religious beliefs, accused me of sabotaging the show, and then unceremoniously fired me the following season once I gave birth. Wow. And she did hashtag I stand with Ray Fisher. My God. Is Joss Whedon, what is Joss Whedon doing these days? Let me look him up real quick on IMDb. Is this going to have an effect on his future jobs as a director? Okay, so he's working on a television series as a writer. Wait a minute. Where's his directing credits? Okay, so he's directed on the Nevers. I never even, what is the Nevers? I've never heard of this. He hasn't directed a movie since Avengers Age of Ultron? Seriously? I thought he did. What did he do? Justice League. Okay, the Nevers. What is that? An epic tale following a gang of Victorian women who find themselves with unusual abilities, relentless enemies, and a mission that might change the world. The Nevers. Why have I not heard about this? It sounds like something that would be in my wheelhouse. Sounds like they have powers. Or are they witches? Okay, so I don't know. I knew about the investigation that they launched after Ray Fisher came out, but it says here a month before Warner Brothers wrapped the probe, Whedon stepped down from his new HBO series, The Nevers, with writer Philippa Goslett taking over the show. Amber Benson, who played Tara McKay on Buffy, followed Carpenter's tweet with her own show of support. Buffy was a toxic environment and it starts at the top. Charisma is speaking truth and I support her 100%. There was a lot of damage done during that time and many of us are still processing it 20 plus years later. How the hell did he get away with this? I guess every man in Hollywood was doing this stuff. My God. And this is Sarah Michelle Gellar. While I am proud to have my name associated with Buffy Summers, I don't want to be forever associated with the name Joss Whedon. I am more focused on raising my family and surviving a pandemic currently, so I will not be making any further statements at this time, but I stand with all the survivors of abuse and I'm proud of them for speaking out. I don't even think she's done much since Buffy the Vampire Slayer. None of them really have. Is this why? Wow. So there you go. I don't know what's going to happen to Joss Whedon. It seems like he's already been canceled, so to speak. So I don't know. We'll see. I will update you if anything comes out about that. That's harsh, man. I hope these women get they all super successful and rich, so I don't, it sounds like they may have PTSD or something, but they haven't done, any of them really haven't really done anything since those shows. So I hope they get the help that they need. Moving on. Viggo Mortensen of Lord of the Rings fame. And guys, this is a very interesting article. And believe me, I've had a lot of trouble being interested in what's going on in Hollywood these days. Everything interesting right now is happening on television. I mean, when Mandalorian stops, I had a really hard time coming up with content. I mean, WandaVision's okay. It's starting to heat up, but there's nothing in the movie industry except for maybe the Justice League movie. But there's so little to talk about. Most of these Marvel movies that are coming out a year from now, 2 years from now. It's crazy. But okay, so we got some Magic Hour talk. Viggo Mortensen on Entertainment Weekly recalls turning down the role of Wolverine in the X-Men movies. Finally, something I can talk about because I know a little bit about this. We, of course, know Hugh Jackman got the role. But see, this is the thing you may or may not know. Hugh Jackman was not even the first choice. It looks like he's the third choice. I didn't know anything about Viggo Mortensen. This is totally new. But the thing is, Dore, I think it's how you say his name, Dore Scott, in case you don't know who he is, and you would know who he is if he had gotten that Wolverine role. Or he did get the Wolverine role. That's the whole point. The reason you don't know who he is because he had to turn it down. Why did he have to turn it down? He couldn't get out of Mission Impossible 2. He's the guy that played the villain in Mission Impossible 2. And I think Mission Impossible 2 was having problems with John Woo and Tom Cruise wasn't getting along. I think Tom Cruise even had to take over some of the directing duties or something. It just wasn't going the way he liked. And so the production went over a few weeks, and Dore Scott had to dip out. He couldn't be on X-Men 1, first movie. I think it was just called X-Men. So yeah, that's a little Hollywood lore. Hugh Jackman auditioned for the role, and famously, I think his wife told him not to take the role. She didn't get it. He didn't get it. He didn't know anything about. It's so funny too. There's an article I read a long time back. Hugh Jackman didn't even know what a Wolverine was. He thought it was some kind of wolf. So he studied, like, I guess some kind of wolf. He was acting like a werewolf, basically. Bryan Singer saw something he was doing that he saw on the Nature Channel or something. And he's like, dude, you know that Wolverines are an actual animal. You're not a wolf. So he had to go to a zoo, I think, and look at some Wolverines because he didn't know what a Wolverine was. So anyway, the role was offered to Viggo Mortensen, it looks like. But well, let's read what it says here. Within the multiverse of superhero franchises, there is an alternative reality where the Lord of the Rings star Viggo Mortensen took the role of Wolverine instead of Hugh Jackman and appeared as Logan across 9 X-Men movies, 11 if you count the time Wade Wilson wore a paper cutout of Wolverine's face in Deadpool, and a revamp a scene from X-Men Origins Wolverine in Deadpool 2. But in our reality, that didn't happen, and it partly has to do with Mortensen's son, Henry. Appearing on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, Mortensen reflected to host John Horowitz about an early meeting with X-Men director Bryan Singer, and at that time, Henry thought the script was wrong, and Henry being Mortensen's son. The thing that bothered me at the same time was just the commitment of endless movies of that same character over and over. I was nervous about that, Mortensen said. And also there were some things, they straightened out most of them out, but I did take Henry to the meeting I had with the director as my sort of good luck charm and guide. In the back of my mind, I was thinking he could learn something too, because I did let Henry read the script, and he goes, "This is wrong. This is not how it is." Singer apparently asked the child if he was familiar with Wolverine in the Marvel Comics. According to Mortensen, Henry replied, "Yeah, but he doesn't look like this." All of a sudden, the director was falling all over himself, and then the rest of the meeting was him explaining in detail to Henry why he was taking certain liberties. Mortensen continued. "We walked out of there, and Henry asked if he will change the things he told him about, and I say, I don't think so. I'm not going to do it anyway because I'm not sure I want to be doing this for years." And then a couple of years later, I'm doing the 3 Lord of the Rings movies, so who knows? So this is very interesting. So apparently, there were some issues with the way Bryan Singer was portraying Wolverine. I have no idea what that was. We already know. Okay, let's look at the finished product. Wolverine's costume, for one thing, looked nothing like the comics. The comics, he's wearing yellow spandex. I got a picture of him right up on my wall. That's how Wolverine looks in the comics. Bryan Singer didn't think that would translate well to movies or film. So all the X-Men famously wore this black leather, which I thought was more badass.
You actually go outside in these things? What would you prefer? Yellow spandex?
We also know that Wolverine is very short. I think he's like 5'3" or something in the comics. He's very short. He's a little dude. He's like a Wolverine. Wolverines aren't big. So the character was supposed to be a small stature guy, and you got Viggo Mortensen, who's not a small stature guy, auditioning for the role. So from that aspect, I can see why his son might have a problem with it. But according to Mortensen here, he says that they changed a lot of the complaints that his son had. So was there something even more unusual about what Bryan Singer would plan to do with the movie? I don't know. It'd be really interesting to see specifically what his son wanted to be changed. Here's the thing. Here's the question. Would Viggo Mortensen made a good Wolverine? Apparently not. If he had taken a role and he wasn't committed to it the way Hugh Jackman was ultimately committed to it, I don't think it would have worked. For one thing, if you watch that original movie, Hugh Jackman was not roided out. He was a very lean dude in the original movie. So his he committed so much to this character. He was so buff in all other movies. It kind of compares to Sylvester Stallone and how the original Rambo, he wasn't this hulking guy. But in later movies, he got bulked out. So I don't think Viggo Mortensen would have done that. Also, I think that alternative history would have happened if he would have actually taken a role. He probably wouldn't have been available for the Lord of the Rings movies. And I don't think the Lord of the Rings movies would have been as good. Because I think really you needed somebody of his stature to make that film relatable. And the story behind Lord of the Rings, there was actually a younger guy that Peter Jackson had in that role, and he was not working out. And I forget the actor's name. I can't remember him. Probably the reason I can't remember him because he probably went on to do nothing after that. Because it's just one of those roles. There's certain roles that you can get in Hollywood. If you get that role, it makes your career. Even though Viggo really hasn't done a lot since Lord of the Rings, but you do know his name. Everybody knows who he is. It's kind of like Mark Hamill being in Star Wars, and pretty much that's the only thing he's known for, that and doing Joker in the animated DC things. But yeah, so this is very interesting. I think what was supposed to happen happened in this. It's fun to wonder what might have been. But at this point, Hugh Jackman is playing Wolverine for so long. I can't, even though he's not right as far as he doesn't look anything like Wolverine in the books or the comic books, I can't see anybody else playing him. I think they got it right. And I think if you would have got a little short dude, he wouldn't have been as attractive to women. How important were women to these films? I don't know. Can't answer that. So, I think they made the right choice. So, but that's the kind of thing I would like to see more now that all the movies that I want to see are being moved back. I need more articles like this because this is just terribly interesting and fulfilling. Okay, so that's our Magic Hour news. What else we got? Let's see. Oh yeah, got another article from Entertainment Weekly. The Mandalorian star Gina Carano faces backlash for controversial Instagram post. And this just in from a separate source, The Hollywood Reporter. Gina Carano has been fired. So it's official, according to Hollywood Reporter. Gina Carano has been fired amid social media controversy. This is my surprise face. Seriously, I don't know how she lasted this long. She is super conservative. You cannot be conservative in Hollywood. I don't understand what her thinking was. First, she made fun of trans people and the way people use pronouns on their Twitter profile. I'm not with that pronoun stuff, but I'm not going to mock people for it. She just doesn't get it. She had a sweet gig. I feel no sympathy for her. She had a sweet gig, and all she had to do was shut up and take the money. So what did she get fired for? Let me just read what she says. Just one of the most moronic comparisons I've seen anybody make. Not surprising though, when you consider what some other conservatives have. Well, I get started with that Marjorie Taylor Greene lady. But anyway, she came under fire on Wednesday, this is what the article says, after resharing a post which compared modern American politics to Nazi Germany and claimed that having differing political views in 2021 was like being Jewish during the Holocaust. I don't. This is the thing I don't understand about right-wing people. They do understand that fascism was a right-wing philosophy. I know I've heard people say, well, they were calling themselves National Socialists, so they were leftists. No, I've read extensively about it. I read this book called The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. If you read that book, you will understand why Hitler called his party that. It was not because they were socialists. It was because back then they were competing with communists for party members. And he wanted to draw in people into his party. So he, even though nothing in his platform had anything to do with socialism. So I'm just going to dispel that myth right off. But you see conservative right-wingers doing this. So this is apparently what the Post said. Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children, because history is edited. Most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views? The since deleted post read according to Variety. The Post also featured a famous image of the 1941 Lviv pogroms during which Jewish men and women were massacred by their own neighbors. And it goes into some other stupid stuff she said. I'll just show you this tweet she made after the election. This is November 5th, 2020. We need to clean up the election process so we are not left feeling the way we do today. Put laws in place that protect us against voter fraud. Investigate every state. Film the counting. They did film the counting. Flush out the fake votes. Require ID. Make voter fraud in 2020. Fix the system. So she's one of these idiots who think Trump got robbed or something. And I've made this point. I don't get political on my main channel. I do get political a little bit on my coffee club channel. But one point I've already made on that channel is the fact that Trump was never popular. His approval rating never got above 49%. He lost the popular vote both times. He was never going to win re-election. He was polling badly even before the pandemic, but I don't want to get into that. Whatever. People want to believe he was a popular guy and that it was stolen from him. Whatever. There's still people that believe Elvis is alive, so whatever. Then there's another tweet she made about mask, and if you watch this channel for any length of time, you know how I feel about people who are mask deniers. And it says, breaking news, Democrat government leaders now recommends we all wear blindfolds along with masks so we can't see what's really going on. Now that one, I can see how it might be anti-mask, but it's skirting the edge of the issue, trying to say something about the government lying to you. So I can see why she didn't get fired for so long, because the only reason I don't think she got fired ultimately for so long was because Jon Favreau liked her. But after that election tweet, I read that Disney was just looking for an excuse to fire her, and she gave them what they wanted with this stupid post. They were set to give her her own show, that Rangers of the New Republic. She is a freaking moron. And I say she's a moron because she's not even that good of an actor. She's a terrible actress. She's nice to look at. But I think her best role was that role she had in Deadpool where she didn't have any lines. So the fact that she can't even act and was about to be given her own show, and all she had to do was shut her mouth and take the money, just shows to me that she was an irredeemable moron. That's that, I guess. This article from Hollywood Reporter does say something that I have a problem with. Where is it? Here it is, right here. The Mandalorian debuted on Disney Plus in November 2019 and helped power this streaming service to impressive subscription numbers. Carano's Cara Dune became an instant fan favorite, with the actor praised for bringing a calm strength to the role. Where did they get the idea that she was a fan favorite? Nobody liked her. I saw nothing on Twitter that indicated that people liked her. She wasn't even that central to the show. I mean, they could even get away with not having Pedro Pascal on the show because he never takes off his helmet. The only character they really need on that show, and I don't see how they're gonna make it going forward. The only character they really needed on that show was Baby Yoda, and he wasn't even real. He was a puppet. But she brought nothing to that show. They could have got anybody to play that role. But yeah, Gina Carano, you screwed up, girl. You screwed up. And you will never get hired again because now everybody knows you're a conservative and they're going to avoid you like the plague, like they do every other conservative in Hollywood. And if you think I'm wrong, look at James Woods' career. Okay. Speaking of The Mandalorian, this just came out on The Verge. I didn't even know there was a Last of Us television show coming out on HBO. It just came out today that Mandalorian star Pedro Pascal will play Joel in HBO's The Last of Us TV show. So Gina Carano is losing jobs and Pedro Pascal keeps getting jobs. I mean, Pedro Pascal has blown up. I don't remember seeing this guy on Law and Order playing a rape. Was he playing a rapist or something? Or a murderer or something? He was on Law and Order. He's Chilean, for God's sake. So I know he played sort of a cowboy type dude in Kingsman: The Golden Circle. He was in Equalizer 2. He's been in all these movies. He was in Wonder Woman just recently. He's on The Mandalorian. He is blown up. I just don't see him as Joel Miller, though. I mean, I guess he looks white, but you can kind of... I'm going to have to see him with a beard. Because Joel has a beard, right? Thinking back to that game, it started in Atlanta, didn't it? The whole the zombie apocalypse thing started in Atlanta or Texas. I can't remember. So there's that. But wait, there's more. They also cast Ellie. And guess who they got for Ellie? And I don't know if she's right either. Bella Ramsey, who played Lyanna Mormont on Game of Thrones. Here's the problem with her. I looked her up her information. She was born in England. So she is, she's obviously English because she was on Game of Thrones. But can she do... Because I think Ellie is like a Midwesterner, right? Can she do a Midwestern American accent? She looks nothing like Ellie. I mean, she's a cute girl. She's talented, but I'm going to have to... I mean, of course, they probably made her audition, so they're past that stage, obviously. if they're announcing it. But I did not know that they were doing a Last of Us game or a television show. And they got a writer from Chernobyl, so why do they need a writer though? I mean, I wonder how that's going to work. Because, wow. Because we know the story arc in the first movie, how they're going to stretch that over one season and then they're going to do the second season, or how are they going to do that? Are they going to do the first game over several seasons? Because there's a big time jump between the first game and the second game, and Ellie is a lot older in the second game. And then, of course, spoilers if you haven't already played the game, but you know it's your fault if you haven't played it by this point. We know that Joel gets killed in the second game, so how is Pedro Pascal gonna, if they do follow by a scenario where they do first and second season, which obviously they can't do now that I think about it, it doesn't make any sense. They would have to stretch out the narrative from that first game over several seasons and maybe eventually get to the second movie or game. And this was right after this rumor about Mahershala Ali being in the run-in for the Joel character. This is the first, and that was the first time I actually heard about the show. I'm like, Mahershala Ali? I mean, he could do it, obviously, but I think the whole appeal of Joel was the fact that he's this cowboy type dude, Texan, or I want to say he's from Texas, or was it Atlanta? I can't remember. I have to go back and play that game or look at the game because I didn't really play it. I did. We do have half of the game on Power Up Archive. I put only half of it up because when Curtis played it, he switched to headphones halfway through the game, and so half of the files he gave me don't have any audio. And I didn't discover this till I had already posted it on Power Up Archive. And because people don't come to that channel very much anyway, I decided I'll just leave it up. What the hell? No one's watching this channel anyway. But but if you go to my channel and you're expecting the whole game, it's not there. I'm sorry. But yeah, that's where we are. I think that's just about all I got for this episode of Magic Hour. My shows will be getting a lot shorter. I just feel a lot more confident about shorter shows, and it's easier to edit too. Because hour-long shows have been killing my Mac because I have so many camera angles and whatnot. But yeah, that's all I got for today. I would like to thank my subscribers and encourage you. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and ring the bell if you're already a subscriber and you want to see my videos in your feed. As soon as they come out the gate, go ahead and ring that bell so you know when it happens. And then let me know what you think about my reviews or my shows or whatever down in the comments below, and give me a like if you please. Help me out. But yeah, that's all I got for today, and I will see you when I see you. Thanks for watching.